What's up, Speak For Yourself listeners? It's your boy Shay Sharp, co-host of FS1's Undisputed. I wanted to tell you about my new podcast, Club Shay Shay, where we always do something before two something. Each week, I sit down with a guest for a drink and conversation, and as host and proprietor of Club Shay Shay, I've welcomed in esteemed guests such as Snoop Dogg, Floyd Money Mayweather, LeVar Ball, Isaiah Thomas, just to mention a few. Whether I'm talking to an athlete, a musician, an actor, or a lifelong friend, Club Shay Shay is a place where people share inspiring and motivational stories about their journeys to prominence. The new episode drops every Monday on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Subscribe to Club Shay Shay now and make sure you never miss a new episode. Now, back to Speak For Yourself.
Welcome to Speak For Yourself, Marcellus Wiley with Emmanuel Acho.
My dog.
My dog. It was good to see you at home last night. You didn't go moonlighting and cheating on your boy, bachelor. How you feel?
Every now and then I got to rest from the work, bro.
For real?
Yeah, but now it's time for the work.
You gunned up right now, too.
I did 100 push-ups right before I came on camera. Not gonna lie.
That's it?
That's it.
Damn, you slacking. All right, let's get to our top story. I did 1,000. There you go. Delivered by Pizza Hut after I eat some pizza, too. Order today at pizzahut.com. Deshaun Watson. Still in Houston, despite reports that he is willing to sit out games if he's not traded. Texans appear to have an insurance policy at quarterback, agreeing to a one-year deal worth up to over $12 million with Tyrod Taylor. Peter King says signing Taylor could be a message to Watson saying, quote, go ahead and sit. So I chose Mr. Muscles. You think the Texans are sending a message to Deshaun Watson by signing Tyrod?
Big dog, the Texans are sending a message, but it's not necessarily intended exclusively for Deshaun. What do I mean? Everybody's been doubting the Texans this whole time. Oh, what y'all gonna do without Deshaun? What y'all gonna do without Deshaun? Mm-hmm. I personally have been doubting the Texans. I know y'all not just gonna roll out there with A.J. McCarron. I believe that was a backup at least last season. And so I'm like, Texans, what's your move? They said, everybody calm down. What we're gonna do is we're gonna sign Taylor. And what we're going to do now is make Deshaun be on notice, along with the rest of the NFL, but more importantly, our locker room be on notice that, like, we're not just going to roll over and get beat down week in and week out. Tyrod Taylor, he is a winner as a starter.
Yes,
he did take the Bills, your Bills, to the playoffs 2017 when he was 8-6 as a starter with that team. They lost, obviously, in the wild card round. But nonetheless, like, Tyrod Taylor is a very competent and capable 31-year-old quarterback. It wasn't necessarily an exclusive message to Deshaun, but, Sel, it did hit Deshaun a little bit harder. What do I mean?
Yeah, give it to me.
Maybe a couple years ago, a couple months ago, I don't remember what it is.
Hold on, dog. You okay? Couple years or couple months?
Hey,
that is not in the same category.
You're going to understand why when you get to the point of the story.
Okay. All right.
I got a wedding invite, right? And I realized this wedding invite, it wasn't exclusively sent to me. It was sent to several people, right? You get a wedding invite.
Well, they won't order you at the wedding.
Exactly, my point exactly. But why did it hit me a little bit differently? Because an ex sent me the wedding invite. So, like, everybody got a message. But I felt that message a little louder, a little more clearly than everybody else, Sal. My point is, everybody got this message. Signing Tyrod Taylor. But Deshaun probably felt it a little bit differently than everybody else felt it because of his role with the Texans organization. Could be a former role here in a couple months, couple weeks, couple days, but currently it's his role with the organization. Message wasn't exclusively meant for Deshaun, but he definitely heard it loud and clear.
All right. Boy, you brought that one back, because I was like, what the hell are you talking about? Yeah, boomerang. Good one right there. Disagree with you, big dog. This was intended for one person and one person only. Deshaun Watson, a wedding invite for one. Only one person going, you better bring the rice, because ain't no flower girls, no best man, just you sitting there watching Tyrod Taylor. Do you accept the Houston Texans offer? I do. $12 million, I love you. And that's what's it about. Deshaun Watson, because they have now highlighted the three options that exist for this Houston Texans organization and for Deshaun Watson and Tyrod Taylor. One, if you're Deshaun, you took the money, now play. Okay, in this relationship, let's stick with the love language you just tried to give me. Deshaun, we love you. We have no contingency plan, as they've been saying this whole offseason. We don't even have a backup for real that we trust in. We love you, we love you. Oh, you want to play hardball? Okay. I'm going to leave my phone out. You ever seen this with your ex? Phone out. Face up.
Face up. No passcode?
No passcode. Text messages. Happening a little later. Who's that? Oh, that's just Andre from work. What time is it? Oh, okay. What time you get off? And what time is he texting? Next day. Who this? Oh, that ain't nothing but Andre. He crazy. Boy. Okay, yeah, you sound crazy too talking to me. Andre is Tyrod. Hey, Houston, I'm out here, free agents. Okay, now, we love you, Deshaun. We're trying to show you explicit love. We're trying to stay faithful to you. But you keep talking that trash, not showing us love back. One day you look at Andre's message, you say, okay, let me reply. They replied to Tyrod Taylor. Now he's in the building. So you got option one. You don't want to play? Option two. Oh, you acting like you tough. You gonna sit. Well, here's option three. Tyrod's in the building now. Deshaun, you don't want to come in the building? You really thought you gonna take my money and not come home? Okay, here's option three, which I don't think the Houston Texans gonna play, but now they have insurance for every single category. We're gonna trade your butt. We actually gonna leave you for Andre. We're gonna leave you for Tyrod Taylor. Now everybody like, damn, why you leave Deshaun for Tyrod? Andre ain't that fresh. You wanna know what his record is? 24-21-1 as a starter. 522 win percentage. Is that better than Deshaun Watson? Yeah.
Don't do that.
I knew you were ready for this. His win percentage,
Don't do that.
Tyrod Taylor, Andre, is higher than Deshaun Watson's. So now, as they say in baseball, all bases are covered. Oh, man, you got to run on first, second, and third. Houston Texans have taken care of every single possibility and option that Deshaun Watson can throw back at him. I don't think Deshaun thought that they would go out there and get someone that they could believe in and that it was capable. But now guns are drawn. What you going to do, Deshaun?
I'll give you that. Deshaun is now in a predicament. Like Deshaun was operating from higher ground. He was operating from a power position because he was like, yeah, I might lose some money if I sit out and y'all can finagle me losing some bread. But you want to know who's going to lose more? You, the Houston Texans. Y'all will lose more if y'all don't have a competent backup, because if we start losing and don't make it to the playoffs, then you, McNair family, y'all going to lose a lot of money by losing in the revenue, in the playoff revenue, et cetera.
Oh, stop that.
But the Texans said, wait a second. If we now go get someone to insulate us from the damages, a backup quarterback, then we now operate from the power position. Because, Marcellus, the only way Deshaun Watson can be insulated from any punishment the Texans give him is monetarily, right? Like, he would have to go get another job. He would have to go get more money.
Yeah.
And the dilemma is he can't. He can't. That's the dilemma.
Andre moved in.
That's the dilemma. Whereas the Texans, they just got to go get another quarterback. Now, Tyrod Taylor is not the same skill level as Deshaun Watson.
Skill level matters?
Yes, talent matters.
Because skill level is just the road to the end, which is how do you win? And Tyrod wins more than Deshaun's way better than Tyrod.
Course.
I'm not that stupid.
Yes.
But damn, it doesn't add up.
But we know that we can't compare apples to oranges. We can't even compare oranges to tangerines.
Can we?
Like, it's different.
Can we compare quarterbacks to quarterbacks?
But we can, but not at different organizations. Not at different organizations.
Oh,
I'm not going to compare what Tyrod Taylor has been doing elsewhere to what Deshaun has been doing in the second most dysfunctional organization, because I would probably call the Detroit Lions the most dysfunctional organization since Deshaun Watson got into the league. So I'm not going to do that. What I am going to say is this. The Texans gain leverage by the move over Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson still has a little bit of leverage given the fact that he is significantly better, significantly younger than Tyrod Taylor. They didn't pay Tyrod Taylor to be a starter. They paid him good backup money. They gave him that Cam Newton contract, the Andy Dalton contract, that good backup money. But in the event Deshaun Watson does slack, the Texan says, hey, big dog, we got something for that.
You said, whoa. Wait a minute. I am now going to be the lawyer for Andre because it sounds like you're trying to do something to this happy home that we just built with Tyrod Taylor and the Houston Texans. One, let's define dysfunction, because I hear you up here saying, it's dysfunctional in Houston, second most dysfunctional organization. Last time I checked, I'm looking at the Houston Texans win 30 games and lose 27 games in the 4 years with Deshaun Watson.
Yes, sir.
Last time I checked, the 4 years before Deshaun Watson, they had won 30 games and 27 losses. Same exact record. All that tells me is, one, I don't know if we're so dysfunctional. If we are, why you sign on to dysfunction? First of all, we drafted you to change things. You ain't changed jack. Then we said, we're going to give you money early so that you know we believe in you changing things. And you still didn't change things. Matter of fact, you went 4-12 with our new money we gave you early. Then you want to go out there and say, well, he's just better. Yeah, of course. But how do you sum up better? This is the problem. I have not yet seen Deshaun Watson prove he's greater than his circumstances. Oh, my God, let's go here. I grew up with people who wanted to blame the environment, wanted to blame Compton, wanted to blame South Central. And last time I checked, every time I look around in any lane of life, I see somebody from my neighborhood that's successful. I could keep naming them, Dr. Dre, Ice Cube, lawyer after lawyer. Shoot. I got to say it like that. You are not greater than your circumstances if you're Deshaun Watson.
Can I park here?
But Tyrod Taylor has shown maybe he is.
Can I park here? Because, America, this is a conversation that I've been wanting to have. I didn't know you would go there. There are only 3 quarterbacks in the National Football League that have proven, that have shown they are greater than their circumstances.
I guarantee you're going to get this wrong,
that have proven, that have shown they are greater than their greatest excuse. I've been waiting on this conversation.
You had that point. You had that while he was
I've been waiting on this conversation, and you brought us here.
Okay.
Aaron Rodgers. He is greater than his greatest excuse. His defense was historically terrible the first half of the season, historically giving up the most yards per play, and they were still balling. Aaron Rodgers, I'm going to give you that one. Russell Wilson. He is also greater than his greatest excuse. His defense was also historically terrible this season, for the first half of the season, and they was balling. And Tom Brady. We already know Tom Brady, what he did in New England, what he did with them. Their offenses were abysmal, 12-4 still. Only those 3 quarterbacks have proven
that's a lie.
That they are greater than their greatest excuse. Patrick Mahomes hasn't had to prove it yet. Tyreek Hill ain't been gone for extended periods of time. Travis Kelce ain't been gone for extended periods of time. He still has Andy Reid. Patrick Mahomes hasn't had to prove it yet. Dak hasn't had to prove it yet. Josh Allen hasn't had to prove it yet. Lamar Jackson hasn't had to prove it yet. Those 3 quarterbacks are the only 3. So Deshaun Watson, maybe he doesn't necessarily fall in that bucket, but only 3 quarterbacks fall in the bucket of being greater than their greatest excuse. So if you want to go there, just make sure you know you've eliminated everybody.
No, I got 2 dudes. First of all, I don't even agree with those 3 dudes except Tom Brady. Duh. Who? 2 QBs.
I need names.
You ready? Okay, first of all, you say in the bucket. Deshaun Watson is in the bucket. 2 QBs in the bucket. Mother. Okay, I'm going to stop there. People know that. I old Ice Cube. Jimmy G is greater than his greatest excuse. We're going to talk about that later. Do you know how
Jimmy G is the excuse?
Wow. I'm not even going to go down that rabbit hole with you right now. We're going to do that in another block. But Jimmy G, 49ers without Jimmy G, 49ers with Jimmy G.
Jimmy G is the excuse.
Okay, Patrick Mahomes. But Alex Smith had that team 12-4 in the playoffs, losing. Patrick Mahomes came in there and was greater than his greatest excuse.
No excuses.
Yes, it was.
Where was the
They couldn't get over the hump. He helped them get over the hump, just like Jimmy G helped the recent 49ers get over the hump. Now, you talking about A-Rod? I thought they won a championship with Brett Favre. And then he won one with him. Is that better? You talking about Russell Wilson? You had great defenses. Top half of the NFL for 8 of your 9 years. Sorry. Top 5 rushing offense for 6 of your 9 years. That sounds like you have great circumstances. You won 1 Super Bowl. With top defenses, number one. And top running game? I don't even want to have that argument because we are losing the fact that Deshaun Watson had 0 leverage, now has negative leverage in this conference. Being real, Houston Texans are looking at Deshaun Watson like, you want us to hurt ourselves by helping you? Who signs on to hurt me to help you? So Deshaun already started off with 0 leverage. Anything Deshaun does is going to hurt Deshaun, or anything that Deshaun wants, he needs the Texans to do. If Deshaun sits, he loses $20+ million. If Deshaun plays, he's in the situation where he had to play because he wanted his money. Houston Texans win. If Deshaun is traded, you think Deshaun could wake up today and just say, I want to be traded, I'm out? Houston Texans is like, you got to come to us. Every way Deshaun moves, he sees the Houston Texans sitting there. That's called leverage because Deshaun can't do anything without their help.
At the point in which those sell, you are 2nd in the league in passer rating. You're 3rd in the league in completion percentage.
Here we go.
You're 1st in the league in passing yards and 2nd in yards per game.
Add it up.
You got leverage because you top 2, top 3, inarguably, based upon last year's statistics, inarguably at the position. So you walk into the place like, y'all almost don't have to do what I do because I am your quarterback, but to a degree, you have to relinquish some authority to me just based upon my skill set. Now, we're all looking at Tyrod Taylor putting more pressure on Deshaun. But what if Tyrod Taylor's just giving the Texans the ability to trade Deshaun? Because that actually might be the hidden piece that neither you and I are talking about.
I can give you that.
Tyrod Taylor's coming in here is like, okay, you can earn up to $12 million if you become our starter. So now we actually going to look around and trade Deshaun because maybe we can find somebody that we like. Deshaun has said he don't want to be here. We now know he's serious about not wanting to be here. We got a competent, capable backup who could become our starter. Now we're going to move you, Deshaun, and you'll actually end up getting exactly what you want.
I'm sorry, I got to use you first, and then I'm going to come back to the Deshaun example. You're on a show called Speak for Yourself.
Yes,
I heard
sir.
you have the best co-host ever. I mean, everyone he's worked with is like big time, and
gets fired.
they don't get fired. They actually leave me because they think it's better out there. Then they come back. Anyway, let's talk about the fact that, so you signed on to do this show last year in June, July, right? You had a contract. I remember you were trying to flirt and try to dance and hang out with other people on other shows I heard about. Is that true? Yes, Your Honor. Yes, it is true. Yeah, exactly. But in the meantime, between you signing on, Deshaun, and you working with me now as the Houston Texans, didn't you launch a series called Uncomfortable Conversations with a Black Man?
Yes, sir, that did happen.
That popped. I mean, yeah, like MC Hammer first album, like you went there. Did your contract sign? Did it change? The contract you signed, did it change?
No, sir.
Oh, it didn't. Did you come here and work with me despite you now on The Bachelor and all these primetime opportunities? You can do anything you want. But can you do anything you want? You coming to see me every damn day because they got you, Deshaun. That's what the Houston Texans are saying right now. I don't give a damn how many yards you throw for. I don't give a damn what your quarterback rating is, you 4-win quarterback.
Let me say this.
You don't have the leverage you think.
But you make a good point, however, when you prove to be a high or the highest performer.
You are one of those guys right now.
Things change. You start to get a couple different calls like, oh, hey, that's what you want us to do?
Yeah.
Okay, sure. I can make myself available. You start to get different calls from even your boss's bosses.
Right.
Even your boss's bosses.
Yes.
You start to enter rooms you couldn't have otherwise entered before Uncomfortable Conversations with a Black Man. So now, all of a sudden, you do have a little bit of leverage. No, you're not still signing your own checks.
Man, stop.
But people who weren't listening to you beforehand now got to pick up. Your calls don't go to voicemail. I promise you. The calls, they pick up on the first ring now.
Oh, that's good.
And so now that they're picking up on the first ring, to a degree, they have to say, hey, what's he want, man?
Yeah.
Like, what's he want? Because we got to keep him happy. So what's he want?
Yes.
What's he want?
Yes.
That's where Deshaun is at.
Yes.
What's he want?
Yes.
We got to keep him happy.
Yes.
Or does he want to go? Let's see what we can get for him.
But you playing it right, because you're in conversation with your boss and your boss's boss and your boss's boss's boss. Deshaun's not. He's not talking to them. And you even understand this. Even though you're in those conversations talking to Oprah, you got her on speed dial, y'all texting each other, y'all great friends. However, when Oprah says, Acho, let's do this, you know what Acho does? Hold on, Oprah. Calling your boss over here. Fox! Hey,
he's not wrong.
Cal McNair. Excuse me, Cal, can I? And Deshaun's not even having a conversation to even end with the can I. That's why Deshaun has no leverage.
Here's what I know.
And I'm not done yet.
If Fox could get 3 first-round picks for me, they would.
They would?
They would.
Yeah, ain't none of us that damn valuable. We all gone. They'd be like, swap? Hell, I know that's facts. But guess what? All your leverage can't cash in into your next deal. It's not cashing in on this deal. They can rip up this deal, give you the next deal. You are, just like everybody else out there has heard about, a rapper on his first rap deal.
Go there.
And you went there, you saw, you're like, look, man, I got these fire lyrics, and I got my boy producing, we in the building, and y'all signed the deal just to get the exposure, just to get out there. And it popped. MC Hammer, Uncomfortable Conversation popped. And now you're sitting there looking at the record company like, hey, man, like, what it do? And they like, we're not giving you your masters. We may rip up the deal, we may sweeten the pot, but guess what? You still working with us until this expires. Deshaun, when you gonna realize you ain't nothing but a first album rapper? That's all you are. You can keep talking about hit after hit after hit, yards after yards after yards, and nobody trying to hear that. He is stuck. They have his rights to 2028. Oh, this ain't gonna end well for Deshaun unless he comes in. But now, he got to share the room with Andre. Tyrod Taylor in the house. Coming up at the top of the hour, I ain't nothing to do. The Warriors are struggling and Steph Curry is frustrated. We'll tell you if his championship window has closed in Golden State. But first, Russell Wilson's trade options are shrinking. We'll tell you if he should be okay with not going to Chicago. That's next on Speak for Yourself. Hey, Speak for Yourself listeners. I wanted to tell you about our brand new Fox Sports app and website, foxsports.com. reimagined for the modern sports fan. Go ahead, download the new app now. You don't even have to pause this episode. Every day on the new app and website, you'll see the top stories in sports, plus a rich world of written content, videos, social media, and analytics to give you a 360-degree view of the most important stories of the day. Streaming live TV has never been so easy or elegant. Every Fox Sports game, including all pregame and postgame shows, are just one click away. For the extra invested fan, we also go deep with real-time wagering lines, trending prop bets, win probability, and key player projections. So download the new Fox Sports app or visit www.foxsports.com.
Russell Wilson's agent said he would approve a trade to 4 teams, including the Bears, but that does not look like it's going to happen. Now, Adam Schefter reports Chicago made a, quote, very aggressive pursuit of Wilson, but we're told Seattle is not trading him at this time. Dan Patrick says the Bears offered 3 first-round picks, 2 third-round picks, and 2 unnamed starters. But they turned down that offer, and the Bears switched gears, and they agreed to a 1-year deal with Andy Dalton. I don't know what these Seahawks doing, Marcel.
You don't?
But
I do.
Should Russell Wilson be okay with how that turned out?
Russell Wilson, first of all, who cares what Russell Wilson thinks? Russell Wilson.
Here you go, Sal.
Well, I mean, look.
You don't care what Deshaun think. You don't care what Russ think. Nobody think.
No. Well, actually, I do care what Deshaun thinks. And I care that he thanks Cal McNair in his love letter to Houston when he signed for $156 million early. I actually do care when Russell Wilson signed not once, twice, 2 blockbuster deals. I care what they think then. And right now, I don't, because last time I checked, they still doing direct deposits. So if you you want me to care what you think, stop doing direct deposits, then I might start thinking you are really about that action. This is fake drama. Chicago, good Lord. You guys really went aggressive in terms of trying to acquire Russell Wilson.
Correct.
Duh, because Russell Wilson's top 3 in the league, top 5 for sure. We get it. But damn, Seattle is sitting there like, let me let you know how much we love Russell Wilson. One, we're going to turn down that offer, which seems almost absurd, even though Russell Wilson is great. But I'll tell you why they did turn down that offer. Because they are not trading him. They never were going to trade him. This is a bunch of fake smoke. You don't lose a top 3 quarterback and absorb a $39 million cap hit, which is what it would have been if they were to trade him to the Chicago Bears. $39 million is going to cost us, and we lose Russell Wilson. What the hell do you guys think this is? Football at the professional level is a business first. So I love the fake drama of all this. I love the fact that Russell Wilson somehow, some way leaked out that, hey, there are 4 teams I'm interested in. Go Hawks. Suckers. He said the Bears. And the Bears were trying, and the Bears was like, man, look, we're not going with Trubisky. He's a free agent. Let's just move on. We were horrible last year in terms of offensive efficiency. Let's go. Nope. Then he said the Cowboys. Cowboys like, we got Dak Prescott, move. Saints, we got Jameis Winston, move. Raiders, we got Derek Carr. He had his best year last year. What you talking about? So what are you talking about, Russell Wilson? It's a lot of fake drama to create leverage that he doesn't have. They were never going to trade him. He knew the cap hit that it would take on the Seattle Seahawks to let him go. Fake drama. Sorry, Russell. Don't care what you think.
The thing is, it may or may not be fake drama, but Russell Wilson should be sick. He didn't get that move to Chicago. And I say it like this, Phil. Matt Nagy is the coach Russell Wilson wants. I don't know if Matt Nagy is the coach Russell Wilson needs, but he's the coach Russell Wilson wants. Remember, Matt Nagy was formed as a coach under Andy Reid. Andy Reid, who coached Donovan McNabb, Andy Reid, who's coaching Patrick Mahomes. That's who Matt Nagy is looking for in a quarterback. Unfortunately for Matt Nagy, he's stuck and has been stuck with Mitch Trubisky. But who he wants and who he needs is Russell Wilson. And who Russell Wilson wants and Russell Wilson needs is Matt Nagy. Just look at their pass percentage over the last 3 years. That is the Chicago Bears versus Seattle Seahawks. On the left, you'll see the Bears under Matt Nagy, his first year, second year, third year, constantly climbing. 27th in passing, 11th in passing, 6th in passing percentage. Percentage of offensive plays where you're trying to pass the ball. Meanwhile, the Seahawks are climbing, if you will, but not nearly as rapidly. Russell Wilson this whole time has said, I'm a capable quarterback of putting the team on my back. I don't want to be a run-first offense. I want to be a pass-first offense. And I've shown y'all I'm a top 5 passer, so let me do that. Seahawks aren't letting him do that. So if I'm Russell Wilson and I'm not thinking about go Hawks, I'm not thinking about the Seahawks brand, I'm thinking about myself, I'm thinking about my wife, I'm thinking about my kids. I'm thinking, hey, I would have rather be in Chicago because Chicago was actually where I could thrive. And otherwise, Sal, think about the path of least resistance.
Okay.
You talk about that all the time. And when you're talking about your Dallas Cowboys, the path of least resistance, the NFC East is so bad.
Yeah.
The NFC West is the toughest division in football since Russ showed up. All 4 teams have made it to a conference championship game. 3 out of the 4 teams have made it to a Super Bowl, with a few teams appearing twice. So, Russ, you could have gone over to Chicago, where you really only got to contend with the Packers, because the Detroit Lions, they in a rebuild. The Vikings appear to have plateaued under Kirk Cousins, a fringe playoff team. The Bears have already made the playoffs 2 of the 3 years under Nagy with Mitch, and last year Mitch and Nick Foles not figuring out who's the starter. Russell Wilson could have made crazy noise in Chicago. And if I'm Russell Wilson, I'm upset I didn't get that move.
Yeah, you really over here glowing and waxing poetic on Chicago like it's all that. And I don't know if your full screen fully showed the entire picture.
Talk to me.
You had pass percentage up there, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, what about run percentage? Oh, we ain't gonna talk about that. What about defense? Uh-oh.
We can talk about that.
You want to talk about defense?
We can talk about Chicago defense.
We can talk about how Chicago didn't have a top 10 scoring defense for the first time. They were 14th ranked last year. Since 2016, when they went 3-13. So, Russell Wilson, this is what bothers me about any athlete who thinks they're going to run somewhere else and it's just going to be greener pastures immediately, especially quarterbacks, because they have the greatest impact. Everywhere you go, there you are, brother. Russell Wilson, you haven't even shown yet fully that you can live up to your end of the bargain in Seattle. But now you're going to go to Chicago, where the defense has now been a little more compromised, where they don't have the same weapons offensively as you do in Seattle. You remember DK Metcalf? Me too. Remember Tyler Lockett? Me too. And you're going to leave there. Now, they do have weapons, but they don't have the same amount of arsenal. And you're going to go there and things is just going to work out for you. Why is that? Because this is the same Russell Wilson in the playoffs. You're talking about they've been there 2 of the 3 years in Chicago. What has Russell Wilson done in the playoffs lately? Let's not talk about last year when he threw the pick 6 and 40% completion percentage against a quarterback who got traded because they didn't even want him with the LA Rams. Let's talk about in his last 9 playoff appearances. What is his record? 3-6. Losing quarterback? Like, look, the equity of him winning the Super Bowl and then going back the next year, throwing the interception, losing the Super Bowl, it seems yesteryear if he wants to move on, because what the Chicago Bears should be looking at is top 3 quarterback, but somehow in the second half of seasons, and certainly in the playoffs, not the same quarterback. So that mirror that he's not looking in Seattle will follow him to Chicago. Russell Wilson still has to look in the mirror. I don't think he fixes all their issues.
But, Sal, you bring up a point that I fully agree with. I'm just going to talk about it from a different perspective.
All right.
You say that quarterbacks and players run to greener pastures and think they're greener pastures, or the mirror follows you wherever it goes. For Russell Wilson, I think that's a good thing, because Russell Wilson makes the pastures green. Before Russell Wilson showed up to Seattle, 7-9. Russell Wilson shows up, second year as a starter, Super Bowl, win. Third year as a starter, Super Bowl appearance. So if he were to go to Chicago and they were an 8-8 team last year that made it to the playoffs, Russell Wilson got to be at least good for, would you say, 3 more wins?
Yeah.
At least 3 more wins.
At least.
So you go from 8-8 in Chicago to at least, again, we're talking about 11-5.
Okay.
I would rather be the same 11-5 I was in Seattle, but happy. I would rather be the same 11-5 or 12-4 I was in Seattle, but at least now I'm playing the game the way I want to play the game. I'm doing it the way I want to do it. Marcellus, you talked the last block about having to go to work. Everybody got to go to work for the most part in America.
Damn
if you
right.
want to live, if you want to have a roof over your head, you got to go to work. We all got to go to work. But at least when I come here, I'm happy.
Are you happy?
Sometimes.
I'm about to say, you leaving me for real, huh? What's up?
Like, everybody got to work, so you might as well be happy doing it. Russ,
facts.
You're going to have to more than likely carry a team regardless where you are. So you might as well be more content where you are doing it. And he would have been more content doing it in Chicago because him and Matt Nagy are a better match. Matt Nagy wants to pass the ball. Russ wants to pass the ball. Pete Carroll wants to run the ball, but Russ wants to pass the ball. That is the dilemma. Russ would have had the same record in Chicago as he had in Seattle, would have had an easier pass to the playoffs than in Seattle, and probably would have had the same outcome. Bears defense last year, 1st overall, 4th overall, 14th overall. Seahawks defense last year was 22nd. So I'm just saying he might have had more success in the shy.
Boy, you better stop talking about gotta go to work and be happy. Take your ass to McDonald's and get a Happy Meal. That's all you gotta do. And they got them in Seattle. They probably got more in Seattle than they do in Chicago. I gotta be happy. No, you wanna be happy at work, but you gotta get that check. That's why you're going to work. Oh, me and my wife just had this discussion. I was like, baby, she acts like since I go to work and she gotta stay at home with the kids, like I'm winning. I'm like, baby, you think I wanna go to work and see Acho and busting out of shirts every single day? Like,
Most people would.
Now, actually, I do like coming to work, but that's not my point. My point is this. You just, once again, cooked the books to make Chicago look better than Seattle. And you went back and said, what were the Seattle Seahawks before Russell Wilson went there? 7-9, and boom, bump. I give Russell Wilson credit for that. But Russell Wilson wasn't the only thing that changed in Seattle. The year before Russell Wilson got there, who was their quarterback? Tavares Jackson, rest in peace, right? Tavares Jackson was their quarterback.
Yes, sir.
But you know what changed from this team? This was a team that was stuck in terms of the defensive prowess.
Fair.
25th ranked, 3 straight years in scoring defense, right? The next year they get Tavares Jackson, they're 7th ranked. And then Pete Carroll's like, I got the defense I want. We 7th ranked. Uh-oh. We still not that good, 7-9. We got to switch quarterbacks. So they went out there and got, what was his name?
Matt Flynn.
Matt Flynn. He didn't even make it through camp. Then Russell Wilson took his job in the 3rd round, drafted, and boom, they off to the races. What was the defense that year? What was the defense? Anybody? Anybody at home? Y'all text, tweet? What is it? Twitter, Twitch, something? What was the defense?
Say first?
First. What was the next year? First. What was the next year? First. What was the next year? First. Russell. Hey, man, don't act like it's all on you. You game manager, plus. You handoff specialist, plus. And all of a sudden, you got that defense. He goes to Chicago. I just told you. What's their scoring defense right now? 14th. And the Bears, even though Matt Nagy's there and he has an offensive mind, the defense is not the same. I have not seen Russell Wilson, as you said earlier, bring the defense up to a standard where they can go out there and have Super Bowl aspirations. He's not greater than his circumstance if the defense and running game is not with him. Broke that down. Coming up, Dak Prescott got his team.
You can't co-sign yourself.
That's the only way I'm going to get the co-sign. But what about the rest of the roster? We'll tell you if the Cowboys have done enough this offseason. That's next on Speak For Yourself. Nobody else will do these.
Hey, Speak For Yourself listeners. It's Charlotte Wilder here to tell you about my new podcast with Mark Titus called the People's Sports Podcast. It comes out every Thursday, and Mark and I take one of the big stories of the week, and then we go off on tangents you never saw coming. This might mean that we start talking about the Dodgers winning the World Series and end up wondering if Knicks fans deserve happiness. Or begin with LeBron's greatness and end up drafting our ultimate beer league softball team made up of old athletes. Whatever it is, the only rule of the show is that it has to be fun and funny, because these days we could all use as many laughs as we can get. So check it out wherever you get your podcasts and come down weird sports rabbit holes with us. We can't wait to have you. Now, back to Speak For Yourself.
Let's head to Dallas. The Cowboys' biggest move this offseason was signing Dak Prescott to a 4-year deal. But what's next? Dallas Morning News said the Cowboys' free agency track record shows they don't know how to use their available cap space. Ooh. Besides Dak, the Cowboys' biggest move was hiring Dan Quinn as their new defensive coordinator. Stop laughing, Acho. Acho, since you want to laugh, have the Cowboys done enough this offseason to be taken seriously?
Come on, big dog. No, you know that.
You ain't right.
Well, the kicker is this. If you took the Cowboys seriously before this offseason, then yes. If you didn't take the Cowboys seriously before this offseason, then no. The Cowboys haven't done anything this offseason. You hired a defensive coordinator, top flight defensive coordinator, by the way, and Dan Quinn coached the #1 defense back-to-back years, first time since the mid-1980s. So I'm going to pay him his respect. However, he still got the same pieces. I mean, Leighton Vander Esch, the star linebacker for the Cowboys, he going to be healthy or not? DeMarcus Lawrence, star defensive end for the Cowboys, you going to be a 6-sack guy or 13.5-sack guy that used to be before you got paid? You still got the same pieces. So just because you got the top flight DC doesn't mean all of a sudden you will have a top flight defense. Now, on the flip side, offensively, what have they done? Like Dak Prescott in the last 3 years, 30-27 as a starter. Like, I'm just not convinced that this team should be taken seriously regardless of these moves. Again, when I talk about notable offseason activity, I look at the Cowboys' offseason activity. They're unnotable offseason activity. I mean, they got an O lineman that they signed, a 35-year-old O lineman, kind of a swing offensive tackle, but can play all across the line, in my knowledge. Then they signed a long snapper, Marcellus Wiley. Now,
you gotta have that.
Long snappers, you do gotta have that, but they didn't do anything notable. The same Cowboys team that they're about to roll out up to next season is the same Cowboys team they rolled out last season. The difference is they re-signed Dak Prescott, but what have I told you and what will I continue to tell you? Just because you got richer does not mean you got better. Dak Prescott got richer. Is he going to be better? Time will tell, because the Dak Prescott that we've fallen in love with, 13-3, playoffs, loss. 10-6, playoffs, loss. 8-8, 2-3. The Dak Prescott we all know and love is good, but are we taking his team seriously? We ain't got no reason to, not in my opinion.
Oh, man, you know I'm taking this seriously, but I must give you props for how you started off your take and saying, if you took the Cowboys seriously before,
yes, sir, take them
then this is confirmation bias in terms of no moves, it's good moves. And I'm going to stay on that side of the fence. Obviously, I know you're on the other side of the fence. We'll talk through this fence. The biggest move they made was signing Dak Prescott. Now, I don't want to sit here and let that go understated. Who was the #1 free agent on everyone's list if available? Dak Prescott. Sorry, Trent Williams. Dak Prescott, even though Trent got paid. Good Lord. Damn, he big, too. I'm glad I retired. That's a sucker. Woo! Dak Prescott, #1. So hold on. You're trying to tell me right now that if some team, any team, not the team that you don't like, even though it's a little self-hate going on because you're from Dallas, but anyway, any team that signs the #1 free agent, you're not giving them props? Why not? How could you make that make sense? So, one, the thing that they did best was sign their own free agent in Dak Prescott. Now, let's talk about this roster, because this is an uber-talented roster. You know how talented this roster is? So talented that we think they underachieve every year. So talented that when we think of this roster, we're like, they can win it all if everything works out for them and they make it happen. So now we can't use that talented roster and sit there and say, well, where are your additions? Where are your notable free agents? Why? We got everything we need in-house. We just got to make it work. And who's the one that stirs the pot the best in Dallas? Dak Prescott. You caught that right there. So let's talk about this. When you talk about the Dallas Cowboys with Dak and without Dak, they're two different animals. So you want to talk about the free agents they got? Here they are. Ezekiel Elliott. Without Dak, 107 yards a game. With Dak, 107 yards a game. Without Dak, 78. Ask CeeDee Lamb how's it feel to be without Dak. Ask Amari Cooper how it is without Dak. Ask Michael Gallup how it is without Dak. The point is, just getting Dak is almost like getting free agents back, because their names are the same, but the games are much different. Got to bring in Fox NFL analyst Bucky Brooks. So, Bucky, have the Cowboys done enough this offseason to be taken seriously? Say yes.
Absolutely yes, because they re-signed the best quarterback in the division. When you look at the playoff landscape, the teams that go to the playoffs are the teams with the best quarterbacks. When I look at Dak Prescott, he is clear, head and shoulders above any of the quarterbacks in the NFC East. Jalen Hurts, Daniel Jones, Ryan Fitzpatrick, that gives them an inside track to win the division. The division gives you a lottery ticket to get into the postseason. You get into the postseason, you're one of 7 teams that has a chance to win it. So the Cowboys are ahead of schedule. Also, when you look at how the Dallas Cowboys want to play, Dak Prescott was averaging 371 passing yards per game when he got hurt last year. That comes on the heels of a season in which he was averaging 306 yards per game. So in the last 21 games, he's averaging well over 300 yards. So we have seen him put this offense on his back. You alluded to the diminishing returns from Ezekiel Elliott, Amari Cooper, when Dak Prescott isn't on the field. By just getting number 4 back on the field, it makes it right. But, oh, by the way, the offense improves because Tyron Smith comes back, Leo Collins comes back. Now they can begin to dominate with the offense, which is their best defense. So without even adding anything else to the mix, the Cowboys are a much better team. And then you have to take them seriously because they have a top 5 quarterback back on the field.
Here's what I don't understand, fellas.
What?
You all continue to dine at this restaurant in Dallas, this Cowboys Cafe, and the menu remains the same. The chef remains the same. The the GM of the restaurant remains the same. And somehow you all expect to taste a different meal. You got a 78-year-old general manager in Jerry Jones who hasn't general managed this team to a championship game since 1995. You got an owner, 78, and Jerry Jones, who hasn't owned this team to a championship game since 1995. You have a quarterback, Dak Prescott, a very good quarterback, but he hasn't quarterbacked this team to a championship game since he got in the league in 2016. So I'm not exactly sure. Oh, wait, forgot one guy. You got a head coach, Mike McCarthy, who hasn't posted a winning season as a head coach since 2016. So y'all gonna come back to the same Cowboys cafe when they got hair in the food, they got roaches running down on the floor.
Hair on your chicken.
You just seen some rats running down through the restaurant. And for whatever reason, Bucky, you've read the Yelp reviews. I'm telling you the Yelp reviews. Sal, you done read the Yelp reviews. I've told you the Yelp reviews. But somehow y'all are expecting that this Cowboys team is going to prepare for you all a championship caliber meal, though they haven't done so and haven't changed any of the true necessary inherent pieces. So y'all got to make this make sense. Y'all throwing pennies into the water and wishing well.
Okay, so I think I heard this great quote on Monday night. Let me see if I can remember. History is to be remembered, but all history is not to be celebrated. So we're going to talk about history. So history tells me that because the Cowboys haven't done it in a while, they're not going to do it.
Yeah.
But yet I've sat up here and had conversations with you about Baker Mayfield and the Cleveland Browns, and the Cleveland Browns hadn't been to the playoffs since 2002, 2003. But yet they went to the playoffs because Baker Mayfield and the offense got right. So now, here's what we're going to do with a little history.
They got a good coach.
History tells me that Mike McCarthy has led a team to a Super Bowl, but it happened in his second year, once he got all the pieces of the puzzle right. There weren't any major changes in Green Bay when he took that over. He just taught them how to play and play winning football. This is year two. Dak Prescott comes back. He's happy he got his money. So now away we go with the Dallas Cowboys led by the offense.
So let me get this straight.
I'm not ready to celebrate history. I'm just remembering the history that I've been taught. So I'm just in school. Okay?
Look, Bucky, just because you use my own words against me don't mean you win an argument. Okay?
It doesn't?
Just because let me get this straight. Let me get this straight. But Marcellus, this is what I heard. Someone correct me if I am wrong.
What?
Bucky, you are hoping that Mike McCarthy in year two, head coach for the Cowboys, who made several crucial pivotal game-losing errors last year. In 4 games, I can count, and I can give them to you if you would like me to regurgitate them. You're telling me that you're banking on Mike McCarthy to write this shit. Because that, to me, is ignorance. We saw Mike McCarthy against the Atlanta Falcons down 14-0, fake a punt at his own 21-yard line. We saw Mike McCarthy against the Seattle Seahawks make an idiotic decision at his own red zone. We saw Mike McCarthy, I believe it was against the Cleveland Browns, fake another punt. Bucky Brooks, you are hoping that Mike McCarthy will revert back to 2009, 10, and 11 Mike McCarthy. That's what you banking on.
Okay, so we're going to have another history lesson because, see, I'm old enough to remember when Michael Jordan came back wearing 45. He came back wearing 45 and they fell short. He put on the 23 the next year and away they went. So just because you're a little rusty in your debut with a new team doesn't mean that it's always going to be like that. So as Mike McCarthy shakes out the cobwebs, kind of remembers what it's like to kind of manage a team and organize it after sitting on the sideline for a year, yes, he made some mistakes, but now he's better for it. Because remember, he is a Super Bowl champion. And I was taught once you win a Super Bowl, they always have to refer to you as a Super Bowl champion. So he certainly understands how to get to the winner's circle and how to win. And so I'm banking that he understands how to manage the game better, but he also has a quarterback that continues to rise. And as you guys were waxing poetic about Russell Wilson and Deshaun Watson and all these quarterbacks that we're excusing away why they can't elevate their team, I'm just saying, if we're going to remember those guys and celebrate those guys in that light, why can't we celebrate Dak Prescott for what he's been able to do with his team and what he will be able to do with the team fully intact this season?
Man, it's tough, man. Acho just, a fish out of water right now. He with 2 elder statesmen up here. Acho studied history, but we lived history, Acho. This is the problem right here. You don't always need new ingredients to bake a better cake. Ooh, my grandma showed me that. Okay, let's look at the last 2 Super Bowl champions just for reference purposes. Let's go back to last year, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Acho says, why would you trust an organization and a team and a coach that's never done it? Has Bruce Arians ever won a Super Bowl before last year? No, no, no. Was Tampa Bay the most losing franchise in sports history before last year? Yes, yes, yes. And now I'm supposed to trust in Tampa Bay? Oh, yeah. Now you do, because they got Tom Brady. Let's go the year before, where they didn't have to get a new quarterback. I knew you was going to go there. Trust me, walk with me. So we go to Kansas City. They hadn't won a championship in 50 years. And they had a coach in Andy Reid, who had never won a championship as a head coach. 5 NFC championship appearances, never could get it over that hump. And all of a sudden, you would have told me they could never win it. Why? Because they don't have the ingredients there. Oh, my grandma would have went like this to you. Yes, you can if you get it done. So, Acho, looking at history, it sounds like you don't like history. You more into his story. Coming up. No, I ain't gonna let you come back. You off the day. He did.
I'm gonna get you next block. Go to break.
All right, Steph Curry. Let's switch sports, too. Get out of this football talk. Steph Curry says getting blown out is embarrassing. We'll tell you if his championship window has closed with the Warriors. That's next on Speak for Yourself. You're gonna come in on Steph, talk about Dak. I know you. You're watching Speak for Yourself. Marcel Swally, Emmanuel Acho. By yourself right now, huh? I guess it didn't work out on the Thanksgiving dinner. Anyway, let's move to the NBA, where the Warriors have been getting blown out recently, and Steph Curry is over it. After Monday's loss to the shorthanded Lakers, Steph said his team needs to develop a winning attitude and have some pride. Yeah. He added, quote, "We got to get sick of getting blown out because that's embarrassing." Okay. Got to bring in Fox NBA analyst Chris Broussard. What up, Bruce? Acho, let's start with you. Has Steph's championship window closed with the Warriors?
Fortunately, it has. And your boy's a big Steph fan, been a big Steph fan for years now. But here's the problem, Sal. We all look at Steph Curry like, oh, wait, Steph hasn't regressed. Steph's still putting up 29, 6, and 5. That's the same stats he was putting up his MVP years, 36 and 5. Steph hasn't regressed. But y'all got to look beneath the surface. What they say about the iceberg, Marcellus, 90% lies underneath the water. You only see the tip of the iceberg. I'm looking at guys like Draymond Green. I'm looking at guys like Draymond, who back when the Warriors were going to 5 straight, when they was winning the chips as well, Draymond was giving you 14, 11, 8, 12, 10, 9, 11, 9, and 9. What's Draymond giving you this year?
Don't say
8, 6, and 6. Now, I understand you still got the piece that everybody knows, which is Steph Curry, but let's not act like Klay Thompson didn't once give us 60 points on 11 dribbles. I don't know if Klay Thompson's going to come back and revert to his old ways after tearing an ACL, tearing an Achilles. And Draymond, we already know his best days are behind him. Is Steph Curry still cooking? Absolutely. But will it take much more than just Steph Curry cooking for the Warriors to go back to their championship ways? Beyond a shadow of a doubt. And lastly, the West is a different beast now than it was. Clippers was what? Lob City back then. Now the Clippers got Kawhi. The Lakers were still trying to figure their things out in NBA purgatory. Now the Lakers got LeBron. Back when the Warriors were winning their chips, they really were going through the Blazers, the Jazz, the Rockets, the Spurs, the Rockets. It's a different type of beast in the West nowadays. I think the best days for the Warriors behind them.
Wow. Acho, how wrong you are, my man. First of all, I do remember in Oklahoma City out there, too, with Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook, that the old Warriors went through. But I'm glad you didn't diss Steph, because I think Steph Curry is probably better than ever. He's stronger than he's ever been. I don't know that in his prime, in the beginning of their dynasty, or even at any point in their dynasty, he could have done this, averaged 29 points on efficient shooting from the 3 and the field overall when they double and triple teaming him. You know, you don't have Kevin Durant to worry about anymore. You don't have Klay Thompson to worry about anymore. The defense is solely focused on Steph, and he's playing as great as ever. So he has not regressed at all. You mentioned Draymond. Draymond is actually playing well. You can't just look at the numbers with Draymond. We know he can't.
I knew we gonna beef.
We know he can't score.
Beef.
He's giving you 8. He's giving you 8.5 assists a game, which is a career high. And here's what you need to look at. The Golden State Warriors, Acho, are 7th in the NBA in defensive efficiency. Who gets most of the credit for that? Draymond Green. So Draymond Green is playing better than I actually expected without the other stars around him. Defensively, he's doing his thing, and he's doing his stuff as a playmaker. Here's the deal. Next year, they'll be contenders. I give you. You mentioned the Lakers. You mentioned the Clippers. I'm not saying they definitely win the West, but I am saying they will be legitimate contenders because everyone will move down a notch once you get Klay back. So Steph's the number one guy. Klay's the number two guy, giving you 20 points a game. Now Andrew Wiggins, who's second right now, he drops to the third scorer. That's a nice 17-point third score. And probably your fourth or fifth best player. He's actually playing the best defense of his career. James Wiseman, love him. Absolutely love him. Giving me 11.6 boards. Great defense, athletic, can shoot, actually shoots the ball fairly well for a 7-footer. He's going to be much better next season. They'll be contenders for sure. I'm not guaranteeing they'll win the West, but they will be contenders. Last thing I'll say in this segment, they are what this year is about and why Steph went off. We got to stop getting used to losing and all that. They are all about teaching these guys how to play Warriors basketball. And they're really doing it. Number one, they lead the league in assists. 27 assists a game. All right, number two, as I mentioned, 7th in the league in defensive efficiency. So they're sharing the ball offensively and defending the rock. And then once they get Klay back, they will return to one of the better three-point shooting teams in the league.
CB, I got to talk to you.
So they'll be back next year.
I got to talk to you, CB.
All we got.
Because, CB, here's the thing, bro. Just because you talk like a bishop doesn't mean you giving me gospel. And that's what I've learned about you, CB. If you talk like a pastor don't mean you giving me this gospel. So I got to pick apart your message, CB. You said they trying to teach you Warriors basketball, CB. Warriors basketball was winning chips. Warriors basketball wasn't being 9th in the West. You know better than I, CB. Warriors basketball wasn't being like the 18th best team in the NBA. Warriors basketball was being the first best team in the NBA. But I think the biggest flaw.
But they don't have the talent yet.
And that's
we
my
know
point.
that, but I'm talking about the way you play the game. That's all I'm saying.
Fair, but my point is this. I can't bank, and because I've come back from injuries, never an ACL, let alone an ACL backdoored with an Achilles, I can't make the same assumption that you want to make, which is Klay Thompson will return to form. You know how the kinetic chain works, and if not, Dr. Wiley will definitely educate us on kinetic chain.
I love that.
I can't make that same assumption you trying to make, CB, that a 2-year older Klay Thompson, 2 years removed from ball with 2 major injuries. Like, worse than hearing SAT, the 3 letters you want to hear worse than that is ACL. So coming back from them type of injuries, I can't make the same assumption you want to make that they will return to form. That's where I differ with you, CB.
Oh, CB, let me referee this. Oh, no, go ahead, CB.
Give you that
I can tell. Sorry, Bishop.
I know Dr. Wiley's about to hit us. But I'll give you that. If Klay's not back close to what he was, 95% of what he was, then you're right. Then they're not going to win another championship or come close. But if I'm assuming, you're right, that Klay is 90-something% of what he used to be, they will contend.
Yeah, I ain't want to interrupt you. Sorry, Bishop. But Klay coming back or not, no one knows. Because caught a Derrick Rose with a KD. I mean, the ankle, the Achilles with an ACL. We'll see. But the first thing I want to do is answer the question. Their window has not closed. Now, speaking of Bishop, my Bishop, Noel Jones, one day talked about when not to make decisions, when not to set expectations. It's when you're tired, you're angry, you're lonely, or you're hungry. Well, if you're Steph Curry, let's add to that list when you're undermanned. I got a Tesla. Actually got 2 Teslas. Actually got 3 Teslas. They roll well with 4 tires. With 3, haven't tried that just yet. You know why? Because it's not designed to do that. This Warriors team is not designed to go out there with Steph Curry alone and say we're championship contenders. I remind people that with Klay Thompson, they have an 80% win percentage. Without Klay Thompson, they have a 33% win percentage. So Klay Thompson is a huge piece that is not being factored into Steph Curry's frustration. And I remind you also that life and championships come at you fast, especially in the NBA. Lakers last year won with a first-year head coach for the Lakers and with a first-year co-star with the Los Angeles Lakers and AD. This year, one of the favorites, if not the favorite, the Brooklyn Nets. First-year head coach in terms of being in the NBA as a head coach on the sideline, Steve Nash, with a newly constructed team in his first year together. And a lot of people are thinking that that team can win it all. So Steph Curry right now, I get it. You're undermanned. You're frustrated. You're angry. You're lonely. You're hungry. You're tired. But don't look at this team forward and thinking that it's going to be the same.
But fellas, let's not ignore the biggest fact of sports, which is athleticism is a depreciating asset.
True.
Health is a depreciating asset. True. CB, Sal, like, how are we going to ignore the fact that when the Warriors were winning their chips, Klay was 23, Steph was 26, Draymond was 25. Now Steph is 31, Draymond is 30, and Klay is 28, going on 29. Like, all these cats that we're hoping will be back. Remember, Steph Curry played 5 games last year. Klay Thompson has been hurt 2 consecutive years. Draymond has now been battling injury the previous 2 years. Like, they're getting older. It's not a coincidence that they are getting hurt. So we're playing this hypothetical situation where in this utopian society in the Bay where Klay and Steph and Draymond are all healthy, then they will be dominant. Well, yeah, but that's just not realistic, because what happens when you get older? You get injured, and we're literally seeing that for these Warriors. So in the hypothetical situation that you, Marcellus Wiley, but more so CB, in the hypothetical situation that y'all are painting, if Klay comes back to his 25-year-old form and Steph stays at his 30-year-old form and Draymond reverts to his 26-year-old form, yeah, they'll compete. But the fact of the matter is, all them days are behind them, just like they win in ways.
Hey, look, man, I'm not chasing Steph Curry's frustrations because just on Sunday, they beat Utah, which is the team with the best record in the NBA. So, look, now you have some disappointing losses. Oh, you forgot about y'all just beating the best team in the NBA by record? So you got to have patience, young Jedi, old Jedi. If you're talking about a 33-year-old Steph Curry, wait till you have all 4 damn tires on the car before you go out there talking about what you're going to do. Until then, show some patience and teach these boys how to win. Speaking of hoops, the tourney has finally arrived, and Fox Super 6 has you covered all tournament long with 6 contests, 1 for every round. Download the Fox Super 6 app right now and answer 6 questions about round 1 for your shot at a $1,000 guaranteed prize. It's completely free to play. It looks like Deshaun Watson wants to be a 49er. But should they go all in on him? We'll answer that next. Oh, speak for yourself.
Welcome back. Deshaun Watson wants out of Houston, and now we're hearing where he actually wants to go. A report says Watson does not want to be in New York or Miami, but he wants to play in Denver or San Fran with the Niners, because the Niners are loading up on their offensive line, agreeing to a massive deal with Trent Williams, and they're expected to sign center Alex Mack. My guy Nuck, if you Bucky Brooks, is back with us, but Marcellus, should the Niners go all in on Deshaun Watson?
No, not at all. One, that would be undercutting what you have and something special in Jimmy G up there in San Francisco. But we'll talk about that on a later topic, later segment. But with Deshaun Watson, as tremendous as he is in terms of performance, as tremendous as he is, as Acho points out, his skill set, it hasn't always translated into team success. And that's something we have to question, especially when it's in contrast to what Jimmy G is, where a lot of people question his performances and question his skill set, but the sucker just wins. So if I look at Deshaun Watson, I still have a question that is unanswered. Is he greater than his circumstances? As we talked about before, Acho, is he greater than his greatest excuse, which sometimes could be the roster, sometimes it could be the dysfunction in the organization? I haven't had the answer given to me yet to that same question. I keep reminding people, Deshaun Watson's been in Houston for 4 years. They have won 30 games. They have lost 37 games. They've been to the playoffs twice. He won 1 playoff game, including getting snatched up 24-0. Come on, bro. And then in the 4 years before Deshaun Watson, and remember, they drafted Deshaun Watson high to change their fortunes. And they paid him early $156 million to change their fortunes. The 4 years before Deshaun Watson, they were 30 and 37. No, I didn't repeat myself. Oh, yes, I did. The same exact damn record. They went to 2 playoff appearances. No, I didn't repeat myself. Oh, yes, I did. The same amount of playoff appearances. And they won 1 playoff game. I didn't repeat myself. Yes, I did the same exact thing. Hold on. What's that Spider-Man meme? Like Deshaun Watson pointing at Brock Osweiler and them dudes. They the same dude in terms of adding them up, wins and losses. So if I'm the 49ers, as much as I'm in love with the looks of Deshaun Watson on the football field, something doesn't add up.
Man, one, that was hilarious, but it was hilariously wrong. The Niners should go all in on Deshaun Watson. Now, I love what you're saying about has Deshaun Watson proven that he is greater than his greatest excuse. I do not know the answer to that question, but I know the answer to this question.
Yes.
Jimmy Garoppolo is the 49ers' excuse. Man, what happened to y'all in the Super Bowl?
Oh, don't do that.
If only Jimmy G would have completed that long pass to Emmanuel Sanders. If only Jimmy G wouldn't have got pass batted down. If only... The 49ers' excuse is Jimmy Garoppolo. So is Deshaun greater than some of his excuses? I don't know. But I know that the 49ers' excuse is their quarterback, so you should absolutely go in on Deshaun Watson. Now, the other reason is really simple for me. Kyle Shanahan, the head coach for the 49ers, has done more with less than Deshaun Watson. I'm going to talk through it as y'all look at it on the full screen. Matt Schaub. His first Pro Bowl was experienced under Kyle Shanahan. He only went to 2 Pro Bowls. Matt Schaub wasn't a world beater, but with Kyle Shanahan, he made some noise. Robert Griffin. We ain't really heard much from Robert Griffin since. Was a third-string quarterback for the Baltimore Ravens last year. Oh, but Robert Griffin was the offensive rookie of the year under Shanahan. Matt Ryan. Y'all remember Matt Ryan won an MVP, went to Super Bowl once? Oh, yeah, won the MVP and went to the Super Bowl under Kyle Shanahan. And even Jimmy Garoppolo. Even Jimmy went to a Super Bowl with Kyle Shanahan. So if Kyle Shanahan can take Matt Schaub to a Pro Bowl, Robert Griffin, Offensive Rookie of the Year, Matt Ryan, an MVP, into a Super Bowl, and Jimmy Garoppolo to a Super Bowl, imagine what in the world he could do with Deshaun Watson. That's all you really need to know, and that's all you really need to hear to say you should go all in on Deshaun Watson if you're the 49ers. My dog, Bucky, bro.
My dog, Acho, that was the best point that you've delivered in the year that I've been on here with you. That was outstanding. In fact, it's so good that I'm going to see if I can piggyback off of it to make myself look great. So here's what happens when you deal with Shanahan and the system. Kyle Shanahan is a masterful schemer. He learned the scheme originally from Mike Shanahan and Gary Kubiak. In this scheme, what's so beautiful about the scheme is quarterback friendly. It can make average quarterbacks look good. Kirk Cousins, Baker Mayfield, Jared Goff, just a few. It can turn good quarterbacks and make them great. You rattled off Matt Ryan playing at an MVP level, but it takes great quarterbacks and it helps them play at a superstar level. Look no farther than what we saw from Aaron Rodgers a season ago with Matt LaFleur. So in Deshaun Watson, you're getting a very talented player in his prime, the most talented player that Kyle Shanahan would have ever touched as a coordinator / quarterback coach or developer. So you think about what Jimmy Garoppolo has been able to do, 24-8 as a starter. Man, you talk about a more talented player, the game being easier for not only Deshaun Watson, but for the play caller, because now you have someone who can make the plays come to life. This is a no-brainer. If I'm the San Francisco 49ers, I go all in to get Deshaun Watson because it gives you an opportunity not only to get to the Super Bowl and win it, but to begin to put the finishing touches on a dynasty that could live in the Bay Area if you have the right guy quarterback.
You said dynasty.
Man, y'all turning me into that emoji. Y'all seen it where his brains explode like, I can't believe what the hell I'm hearing. Boy, y'all wrong. Woo! Y'all are wrong here. First of all, Jimmy G is a winner. And Jimmy G's don't grow on trees. I got a full screen for you right here. And then it's going to lead me to Kyle Shanahan, and I'm going to come back and voila on Deshaun Watson's head. Y'all see that record right there? The top line is your masterful schemer, as you said, Bucky Brooks. As a head coach, I'm tired of hearing all this coordinator talk. Full screen from a coordinator. I don't give a damn. Tell me when you the man. That's a losing record. But then look when he has Jimmy G healthy. Oh! And then look when the masterful schemer doesn't have Jimmy G. Want to be a coordinator again, don't you, Kyle Shanahan? Get that off the screen. What the hell y'all talk about Kyle Shanahan? He better thank every single day the living God of Jimmy GQ helping him out as a head coach because Jimmy GQ is a winner. Now, that takes me to Jimmy GQ because people want to act like Jimmy GQ is not that dude. When you look at a guy like Jimmy G, you want to get lost in his performance, and sometimes you're wild, and sometimes you're like, nah, that's not it. But I want to remind you that he has the 4th highest win percentage since he's been a starting quarterback in the NFL ever. Okay, whatever. I'm done with Jimmy G. I showed y'all Kyle Shanahan. Let me go back to Deshaun Watson, why you shouldn't go all in on him. I remind people that there are quarterbacks out there that are less talented but have won more than Deshaun Watson, and that has to make you scratch your head. Do you know that Rex Grossman has a higher win percentage as a starter than Deshaun Watson?
What
about Trent Dilfer?
Come on. What are we doing?
What are we doing?
I'm about to do this.
Brian Greasy, ain't he commentating?
Somebody cut his mic.
Okay, what about Trevor Siemian? Damn.
I'm about to do this with you.
Mitch Trubisky?
I'm about to touch up my makeup.
Teddy Bridgewater? And here's the kicker. I'm not done. There were some other names on this list. I was like, I ain't gonna do Deshaun like that. Yeah, I am. Tyrod Taylor. All are greater winners than your boy Deshaun Watson. None of those dudes touch Deshaun Watson in terms of his skill set. None of them touch him in terms of his performance. But when you add it up, kind of reminds me of Tom Brady. When I knew quarterback after quarterback that wowed you in performance, but they couldn't make it add up like the GOAT. So I'm not going all in on somebody. And if I were, maybe it would be Trevor Siemian. Who knows? Mr. Trubisky's a free agent because Deshaun Watson hasn't made it add up just yet. Anybody? Nobody? Let's go. Coming up?
No.
Hey,
Definitely not this time.
yeah, I'm killing them up here, boy. It's easy. It's easy money.
Sam,
What?
Deshaun Watson has 53 more touchdowns than Jimmy G and only 10 more picks. Marcellus Wiley, if night and day as an individual and collectively, you up here telling me about all of Jimmy G's winning percentages. Bro, Jimmy G has played 30 games as a starter. He started 30 games in 30 years of age. Make that make sense, bro. That's not even 2 whole seasons. Stop telling me about a limited sample size.
Limited?
Like, it's the most limited.
Limited?
Give me a cutoff mark. He ain't even started 2 whole seasons. Bucky, you get him, bro. You
Yeah,
go ahead.
Bucky, yeah, good luck. That ain't hurt. That didn't hurt. What?
The fact that we're talking about Jimmy G and we're celebrating him as if he's this wonderkin that can make it all happen. The reason why Kyle Shanahan's record sucks without Jimmy G is more a product of C.J. Beathard and Nick Mullins.
Y'all just blaming everybody.
Jimmy G. I'm just saying, like, look, he has elevated Jimmy G to make Jimmy G look like a respectable, incredible quarterback. But let's not act like Jimmy G is a world beater. He's just in that average category. Kyle Shanahan gets frustrated because he wishes that he could have someone that can make those plays come to life. Deshaun Watson is that someone. Go get Deshaun.
Look, man, I wish this was track and field, all of our favorite sports, because it'd be that simple. Hey, we need a man on the relay. Go get Deshaun. He faster than all them. Yeah, but this is football, the ultimate team sport where we can't quantify intangibles, but somehow, some way, they become measured. And they're usually measured in the road of performance all the way to the journey and goal of wins and losses. So I can't discount the end game, wins and losses, just because somebody is wowing me and how good they look and losing. And that's who Deshaun Watson is right now. I get where y'all coming from. Trust me, if we sitting there playing some sandlot, I'm drafting Deshaun Watson 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But the problem is when I got 52 other guys that need something else beyond performance, I'm still questioning what's going on with Deshaun Watson and why isn't it translating. Coming up, I won that one. Sean Payton says the Saints are set at quarterback with Jameis Winston and Taysom Hill. We'll tell you if we agree. That's next on Speak for Yourself. Y'all trying to run pickup. The Saints have to find a starting quarterback for the first time in 15 years after Drew Brees, my guy, recently retired. Jameis Winston is coming back on a one-year deal, and Taysom Hill was 3-1 in 4 starts last season. Sean Payton was asked if his team is set at quarterback. Take a listen.
I think we are. And look, I've told both of them, hey, it's going to be, the two of you are going to compete for this position. And they understand it. We've already had a chance to see both of them to some degree.
Acho, you agree with Sean Payton that the Saints are set at quarterback? Why are you giggling again?
They're not. I mean, so you know this. We've talked about this. Colin says this all the time. If you got 2 quarterbacks, you ain't got no quarterbacks.
Who says that?
Colin.
Yeah. Who else? What the hell does that mean? People always say that. I know.
Man, if you got 2 quarterbacks, it's like a quarterback battle in the National Football League does no one any good. See the Philadelphia Eagles season of 2020. A quarterback battle in the National Football League, again, it behooves no one, not the individual nor the team. So going into the season with Taysom Hill and Jameis Winston isn't like a good thing. The other problem is you're going into the season with not 2 good quarterbacks, 2 great quarterbacks, 2 questionable quarterbacks.
Ooh.
Yeah, Taysom was 3-1 as a starter. He had 8 total touchdowns, but he also had 5 giveaways on pace, and I know you hate pace, but on pace for 32 touchdowns and 20 giveaways. Jameis Winston, conversely, last time we saw him as a starter, he had 30 interceptions. He did have 5,000 yards. Shout out to Jameis on the positives, but he had a whole bunch of negatives. So 2 question marks don't make a solution, right? Like if I add up 2 question marks, I did not get an answer. I just got 2 question marks. So for me, the Saints are definitely not set at quarterback. They still got some figuring out to do.
Oh, man. Disagree with you. Disagree with Colin, I guess, because you stole the take from him. Talk about 2 quarterbacks. He ain't got none. Steve Young and Joe Montana. They weren't in competition because it's not really a quantity quarterback conversation. It's a leadership conversation that comes from up top. And I trust the leadership of the New Orleans Saints and Sean Payton. So as long as you make a decision, you have 2 quarterbacks, which is a great insurance policy to go forward. And I love the situation that they set up. They actually had the foresight to set it up this way. 1, they knew Drew Brees more than likely was going to retire. 2, Taysom Hill was going to be waiting in the wings for his opportunity. So let's get him on a high-priced backup contract. But when his time is coming to become the starter, you're already signed, big dog. Yeah, we'll restructure you and give you all that fake money, but that's what they did. And I told you this when it happened. I don't know if you caught it, but I remember when Drew Brees got hurt, and I was like, well, Jameis is going to start. Jameis came in for that half, remember?
And then Taysom Hill
came in. You know why? Because I swear, and I don't know, this is conjecture, but I think the owner was like, hey, we got to keep Jameis on the low because teams going to want him. He's a young guy coming off a 5,000-yard season. Don't let him just go out there and start 4 games. We're not going to be able to retain him because we're broke. Salary cap issues next year and COVID cap issues. We're not going to be able to afford him. So now they just put Jameis out there for a half. Acho, we played a lot of football. When has coach ever put somebody out there they actually did well and then don't let them finish?
There's something going on.
Yeah, you know what's going on? This moment right here. We got 2 quarterbacks, and we actually have 2 quarterbacks. We got one on the low deal. We got one on the hometown discount low deal. And y'all gonna eat what y'all kill. This year, I'm going to figure this out between who's going to win in practice and, more importantly, who I'm going to decide to go out there and win games. But in this system, it seems customized for Jameis Winston in the terms of the marriage. How Tom Brady brought Bruce Arians and his risk it for a biscuit down to something respectable and something that was reasonable. Same thing with Sean Payton. Hey, bro, stop throwing the ball 90 yards. First down, Drew Brees style. We got the perfect marriage here. I think Jameis Winston wins it out.
The problem, though, is in the NFL, you don't have to worry about what somebody tells you. All you need to be concerned with is what they pay you. Because what they pay you will speak way more volumes than what they tell you.
Facts.
Jameis Winston signed a $5 million contract, could earn up to $12 million, I think, based upon bonuses, et cetera, et cetera. However, Taysom Hill signed some $140 million completely voidable monopoly money contract. So I'm still curious because Sean Payton hasn't made it clear. The other problem, though, Sel, is this. When has Sean Payton shown the world that he knows how to decipher between the quarterback position when it comes to a quarterback battle with Taysom Hill? Like, you said it. He rolls Jameis Winston out there for a half. Jameis Winston looks good. But then Taysom Hill starts the rest of the time. Then there's conversation of should Taysom start over Brees the whole time. Then it's like, wait, should Jameis be the starter over Taysom? Now you pay them both an ambiguous amount of money, so there's absolutely no clarity as to who's going to be the starter. And it's not like they play the same type of ball. Like if you're Alvin Kamara, you want Jameis to start. Because with Taysom, that was the first time in the history of your career you had a game with no catches. So how are you going to lure in free agents when it's like, man, I'm not trying to go play with Taysom Hill. I'll be real with you. I think they're like real talk. I think the Saints are in a dilemma because as long as they don't know what's going on, nobody else can know what's going on, and they can't help anybody else help them.
Love that. You broke that down. Only pushback will be this. I think that everything you said was built off of the thought that where there's smoke, there's fire. Okay, here's the problem. That's not always true. Where there's smoke, there's fire, yeah, most of the time, but sometimes something's just cooking, and it's not on fire. It's just like, damn, you better hurry up and get that out before it is on fire. I think what's cooking in New Orleans right now is they were trying to cook the books. They were trying to say, how do we manage assets and don't let them appreciate to the point where we can't afford them? Taysom Hill. I don't think that don't think a team out there was going to pay them what Taysom Hill was commanding from the Saints. Nobody else was going to match that offer. But Jameis Winston at $5 million, if he would have showed in the 4 games what Taysom Hill did, 3-1, they wouldn't have been able to afford Jameis Winston. So the point of it is, they were cooking something up for Drew Brees when he retired, and they would have a 1-year project with these 2 quarterbacks battling each other. I like what the Saints did because now they have 2 quarterbacks, which should be an insurance policy for the one who doesn't go out there and start. Coming up, Odell Beckham Jr. is rehabbing and sending out, cryptic tweets. We'll tell you if the OBJ should want out of Cleveland. That's next on Speak for Yourself. We cooking books up here.
Odell Beckham Jr. is using social media a lot, which is pretty standard for Odell. But he's coming back from an ACL injury and posted, quote, "Head down, line is on, just keep working. They gotta see me," close quote. Well, we all saw OBJ's tweet yesterday that said, quote, "second act," which led to some question his future in Cleveland. But the report says OBJ is just talking about coming back strong from his ACL injury. But that's not what we talking about, because Marcellus, I got to ask you, should Odell Beckham Jr. want out of Cleveland?
No, not at all. Cleveland, no, sir. Maybe a new quarterback in Cleveland. Let me stop. I love you, Baker. Like you, Baker Mayfield, a lot. Nah, this is a great situation for Odell Beckham Jr. What a great opportunity being presented. This is a team went out there and won 11 games last year. This is a team that is on the rise. Now, they need a bump. They need to get over the next hurdle, the next hump. OBJ on that roster connecting with Baker Mayfield can not only take this team to different places, but even their franchise quarterback as they're starting to lean towards in Baker Mayfield. So it's still a situation that's weird because there are low expectations, but high returns and results potentially. Like if they don't do well in Cleveland next year, if this team falters, we're going to sit there and be a little disappointed, but we wouldn't destroy them because it's still Cleveland. But boy, if they pop, like this year, like everyone is singing their praises, and all they did was go into the playoffs, win against the lowly Steelers at that moment, who had lost 1 of their last 5 games. 1-1 of their last 5 games. And then everyone's like, yes, you add OBJ and they do more in the playoffs. Oh, you got something special here. So wherever you go, OBJ, there you are. Stay there with a running game, with an offensive line, with some defensive players, and more importantly, a quarterback that is on the rise.
I think Odell should want out, Sel, but I think he should because they don't value or respect him there, man. You know, as soon as he got hurt, everybody started saying, is Baker Mayfield better without Odell Beckham? And crazy thing is, they have stats to prove it. Baker Mayfield, a 71 passer rating when targeting OBJ. To put that in context, when targeting Jarvis Landry, 87. When targeting Rashad Higgins, 114. When targeting his tight end Austin Hooper, a 95. Odell Beckham Jr., they actually average more points per game without him than they do with him. Obviously, they have a better record without him than they do with him as well. So people are starting to wonder, Odell, like, are you actually adding value to this organization? So for that reason, first and foremost, like the disrespect tells me, Odell, go somewhere where you're valued, where you're appreciated. And in all honesty, maybe it is a better match. But I think secondly, we got to remember, Odell was an icon, Sel. Yeah. Like, remember, Odell, 14 million Instagram followers. For what y'all think, that's so silly. That's just Instagram. No.
No,
like,
right.
In this day and age, Odell was an icon. He was starting to become the biggest figure in the sport. He needs somewhere that can maximize that as well. When he was in that major market of New York, he was playing better. He was doing better. I don't think Eli was that much better at that stage in his career than Baker Mayfield, but I think Odell Beckham just thrives in that environment with the lights on when it's shining bright. I think that's when you see the best version of Odell. I think he should go because he'll be better served individually.
Look, if I'm his homeboy, I would mention that to him as well. Why don't you go somewhere with a quarterback that can get you the ball and they trust the quarterback to get you the ball? Because that connection is not there yet in Cleveland. Great opportunity for that connection, but you're right, because they don't trust Baker Mayfield fully to go with the receiver that is explosive. They trust Jarvis Landry and Baker Mayfield because that's more of a move the chains connection. Odell is to put 6 up there, but for that reward, you're going to have to take that risk. Baker Mayfield's not there just yet as they're still into run and play action passing. So Eli Manning had no leash. Eli Manning gave a 0 because he was a 2-time Super Bowl MVP who would just launch it. Didn't care about leading the league in interceptions 1, 2, 3 different times. He didn't care. And OBJ thrived with that kind of relationship. The environment, I don't really want to go there because I think if Odell's balling, wherever he is, there's a star there in Odell. You don't think in Cleveland he could be a star?
Here's why.
How did LeBron do it?
Here's why. Cleveland's biggest star, the Browns' biggest star over the last 10 years, 12 years was Joe Hayden. That's their biggest star. I was there when Joe Hayden was there. I was drafted to the Cleveland Browns.
Y'all don't count
Joe
Joe
Hayden
Thomas, huh?
No, he's offensive lineman, so people just don't respect him like that.
Yeah.
The majority of people don't really know about Joe Hayden like that. Now, you might know about Earl Thomas because the Cowboys were considering Earl.
Yeah.
You might know about somebody plays on a Jamal Adams because he played for the Jets, and then he gets traded to the Seahawks. But like Joe Hayden, the greater world doesn't really know about him.
But he wasn't OBJ. He wasn't a cornerback like OBJ was a receiver.
Think about how Odell Beckham disappeared when he went to Cleveland from the global icon of being in the sports world. I look at it like this, though. Let's have a sports combo.
Has he?
If you can't convince yourself you're going to win a Super Bowl, you low-key got to make selfish decisions. And if you're Odell Beckham, I think Cleveland's close, but they really like knocking on the door of a Super Bowl. So if I'm Odell and I'm like, man, I don't know if I can win a Super Bowl here, then let me go somewhere where at least I can shine. Let me go somewhere where at least I can ball. Let me go somewhere where at least my brand is bigger. Because either way, I'm going to get some catches. Either way, I'm going to win some games. I'm probably not going to win a Super Bowl in Cleveland, so let me do me.
Yeah, he gets credit if they win, and he comes back, and it's certainly Odell Beckham Jr. in that. It's just really a trust-talent conversation. His talent is not going to be properly utilized until they trust Baker Mayfield. It's just that simple. And Baker Mayfield, maybe this is the year where he just lets it go, because last year, them protecting him and having the 4th worst throwing percentage in terms of attempts, like they just were running the ball and say, okay, Baker, here's a little leash, here's a little more leash, but not what you need to take advantage of Odell Beckham Jr.'s talents. That's what Eli Manning had. No leash. You need that kind of situation. I get it. But let me give it to you in story form. I don't know the last time you saw Odell. I saw him right before the pandemic, Super Bowl, right? So what's that, February? And then the pandemic happens in March. He's that star. Like, there's so many levels of stardom, and as you continue to rise, I see yours. You way up here. I'm like, damn, I ain't going out with you. Because y'all get on something where y'all say, I got to hold it. You ever heard a star say, I got to hold it? Now, what that means is when you're out eating, you're with your boy, and you're like, me, I can go anywhere. I'm just famous enough where people are like, hey, hi, Marcel, so picture, but they ain't bothering me. I ain't getting the crowd. I don't need security. I'm me. You are like between me and Odell. Odell is, gotta hold it, dog. That means, and I remember him saying this, he's like, I can't get up and go to the bathroom. If I go to the bathroom, everybody gotta go to the bathroom. Boom, 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 including my daughter. My 21-year-old daughter at the time was like, Daddy, that's Odell. Meanwhile, I'm sitting here, it's Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning, my daughter, like, whatever. Okay, meanwhile, over here is Cam Newton, my daughter, like, Odell, when he got up, I said, sit your butt down. What you doing? What you doing? Point being, man, he's still a superstar global icon. Just needs some more catches to help with that global icon
love for
connection.
Cam?
For me, I was saying, forget all them. I was like, Peyton, that's my dog. But for the younger generation, I don't think that they have missed a beat with Odell in terms of his greatness, even in Cleveland. Coming up, the Niners say Jimmy G is their quarterback, but he's still under a lot of scrutiny. We'll tell you if it's deserved. That's next on Speak for Yourself. Jimmy Garoppolo is 24-9, including the playoffs as the 49ers starter. But in that span, he's also missed 23 games due to injury. This has led to a lot of criticism, but his teammate, Pro Bowl fullback Kyle Juszczyk, says Jimmy G does not let the outside noise affect him. That's right, Jimmy. Juszczyk added, quote, the amount of scrutiny this guy gets is just unbelievable. Ooh, Acho, you know something about that. Does Jimmy G deserve the amount of scrutiny he gets?
Sal, you said a lot of wise things on this show, but your wisest things stick with me. Your wisest Wiley-isms always stay present of mind. You said this, criticism is a cost of
praise.
Criticism is a cost of praise. Jimmy G is absolutely deserving of the criticism that he gets because that's the cost of praise. That's the cost of, at one point in time, being the highest paid player in the National Football League, at least the highest paid player at your position in the greatest sport in America. That's the cost of it. Yeah. Like, Jimmy G, you can't want to be the boss, but then get mad when people talk about you like they talk about bosses. That's just what it comes down to. The other thing is this, Jimmy G, of all the quarterbacks in the National Football League, you do the least work. What do I mean you do the least work?
Here comes the criticism, Jimmy.
49% of Jimmy G's yards, Seller, yards after catch, which means only 51% of his yards is he actually throwing in the air, and the receivers is, I need that, and doing the rest of the work. So you and I both wrote books.
Yes.
If you only wrote 51% of your book and I wrote 70% of my book, I'm scrutinizing you because you did less work than me, particularly if you got paid more than me to do the exact same job. And that's what it is with Jimmy G. He got paid the most amount of money. He gets praised for that, but he's also going to get scrutinized for that as well.
Wow, there's a word for what you just did right there. Mad at me because I ain't right, Jack. I'm lazy. I was like, here's the microphone. Dictate. It's called envy, and you envy Jimmy G too. Human nature is to get the most results with the least effort. That's like, I'm not lying. Every human being in our DNA, our collective DNA that we share as human beings is, I want the most doing the least. And then you're conditioned to do more to get more because you realize if you don't do anything in this world, you won't get anything in this world. We'll talk later about that sociology. Here's the point. People are envious of Jimmy G, and he gets too much damn scrutiny because he's not the only guy who gets paid, but he's the only guy that gets all the hate. When last time I checked, not only Kyle Shanahan can't win without Jimmy G, but the 49ers can't win without Jimmy G. Must I remind people? Must I remind you that they were 2-14 the year before Jimmy G got there? Must I remind you the year he got there, they were 1-10. Do that math right there. That's 3-24. Jimmy G says, goes out there, doesn't lose a game, gets paid, gets hurt next year. You know what they were that year? 6-10. Then he comes back, 13-3 Super Bowl. Then he gets hurt again, 6-10. Jimmy G like, bruh, hate on me if you want. Now, I will be real about this. I understand where the envy comes from because he got paid too much too early.
Correct.
Come on. You can't be the highest paid player in NFL history after 7 starts, and Jimmy G was. Plus, when you look at him, every man out there, even if you're secure with yourself, like, that's a good-looking dude. I got to stay away from him at the club. Because Jimmy G just seems like he has it all. He's a winner. He's a guy that's gotten his money, and he minds his business, not active on social media. So you know how it is. He's not fighting back, so people just continue to pile on.
But how about a mind-blowing stat for you? Lamar Jackson has started more games than Jimmy G. One is 24, one is 30. Like, how about that for an answer?
He was on the bench for a minute.
No. Jimmy G has the capability to have started 57 games since he took over in 2016, right? He could have started them 4 in New England. He only started 2 because of injury. He started 32 of the 57 potential games where he was set to be the starter. Only 56% of the time is dude on the field. They not taking away 56% of his dollars. So, Jimmy G, they're paying you to do a job. When he's on the field, he does the job. The problem is he's only on the field 56% of the time. The problem is he's not even being the reason that the team is winning when they lost the biggest game of their season.
You keep doing that when he was out playing Patrick Mahomes. Oh, really? Speaking of Patrick Mahomes, Jimmy G has led his team to the 3rd most points per game of any starting quarterback since 1970. Yep. I wasn't even here, too. Patrick Mahomes, number 1. Lamar Jackson, number 2. Since you want to bring up great names, put Jimmy G in the same conversation.
Tell him to show up every week.
Show him every week. Hey, man, I'm injury prone, too. You couldn't say that to me. How you going to say it to Jimmy G? Did you show up every week? Didn't you?
I didn't get paid. I didn't get paid like that. I didn't get paid like that.
So the money.
The cost of pay.
You got hurt at the combine. You talking about somebody being injury prone. That derailed you as well. Stop being mad at Jimmy G because he got it all. I love you, Jimmy G. Coming up, the Patriots have spent a ton of money in free agency. So would we be surprised if they missed the playoffs next season? Woo. That's next on Speak for Yourself.
I did get hurt at the combine. I
know.
On the whole quad.
That's
Now, the Patriots have not been shy with their wallet, reportedly spending $273 million in free agency so far. Sports Illustrated says Bill Belichick's spending spree has brought New England back from the dead. Has it? So, Marcellus, let's talk this out real quick.
Yes.
Would you be surprised if the Patriots missed the playoffs?
Yes, I would be surprised if they missed the playoffs because this is a fully formed team now. I'm not just talking about the continuity. Look at you. At the quarterback position, Cam Newton. Oh, I actually know where the facilities are. I'm actually going to have an offseason. It's not going to be virtual. Maybe a preseason as well in the most complicated offensive system in the NFL. On top of that, top 5 offensive line. You're talking about the defense still being great on that side of the ball. And Bill Belichick just grabbing reinforcements. And now he's going to be able to have a quarterback who understands the winning culture. Oh, come on, man. Yeah, they're in the playoffs.
No, I would not be surprised at all. And in fact, I anticipate they will miss the playoffs. So I look at it like this. Cam Newton needs help. And y'all were bringing back 1,000-yard receiver, including your offseason signings of $50 million in the receiver room, Julian Edelman. A 35-year-old Julian Edelman is the only player in the receiving corps that has ever received for 1,000 yards in a season. So, yeah, they spent a lot of money, but I'm not convinced that the money they spent was money well spent. The defense has always been good. So
That's
the
right.
Patriots extending their defense and solidifying their defense, that don't mean nothing to me.
Oh, did you put some respect on Super Bowl MVP and future Hall of Famer Julian Edelman when you speak his name? Yes, you do. Look, the Bill Belichick way is boring until you see the results. And I understand where you're coming from, Macho. You're like everybody else. You're caught up in the wow factor. How many Pro Bowlers did you get? How many 1,000-yard receivers did you get? Where are your 1,000-yard rushers?
That's a necessary factor.
They're not. Not for Bill Belichick.
Necessary.
Golly, can you quantify his greatness in terms of impact on the team? You still haven't done that after 20-plus years. Belichick's way is defense.
Belichick minus Tom Brady is a question mark.
Ooh, we'll see this year. All right, that's it for us. Fox Bet Live is next. Couldn't say nothing after that.